Alright guys, let's hop right into it, the tier list. So for starters, there's going to be characters that are going to be constantly coming out and I'll have to update this video, but there were a few characters that weren't available for the playtest for myself. Those are going to be Psylocke, Hawkeye, and Moon Knight. Now, I want to then move on to the D tier of the game. Now, first off, I want to say, don't let this discourage you from playing any of the other characters that we are going to be talking about. There are players that are really good with a character that a lot of people consider low tier in any video game, fighting games, FPS, it doesn't matter. Don't let this discourage you, but if I'm trying to make a objective tier list for players that I could recommend for, players that are maybe just hopping into the game, that's what this video is kind of for. It's mainly for beginner players, but also kind of taking into consideration what people do play at the higher ranks of the game, because certain things are harder to execute for beginner players than some of the most advanced like combos and team ups that you can do in the game. Because sometimes when you're playing in solo queue, you know that like asking someone to swap and then people don't do it, right? So let's go ahead and start off with the D tier. So I'm telling you guys to stay away from these characters unless you're like, I want to be a top 500 player, I want to be at the top of the leaderboards, I'm going to put in the time, I feel like these characters are really good and I want to learn them. Hey, by all means go for it. But if you're not willing to learn some of these characters and put in the time, like you're just like, my favorite hero is Black Panther, and I just want to play and have fun, I'm a casual, you're probably not going to have a good time playing some of these characters. It's very common with Spider-Man, especially if you're just doing quick play. He either will go like 50-2 or he's going to be 2-50. There's not much in between. So at the lower ranks, it's always a thing with Spider-Man. It's just because he's a very, very popular hero in the game, but he just gets eliminated and he doesn't execute his combo at the lower ranks to secure the kills on the support, or the knockouts is what they call it in the game. So starting right off, these three characters kind of all fit into the same category. So Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Magic, they go in and they just pop instantly because they don't know how to fully utilize the combos to actually 100-0. Now, it's not that common that you're just going to go up to any character in the game and be like, 100-0. You have to really execute. You have to look at like, oh, what cooldowns do the enemies have? Do they have this? Does this character have the ability to get eliminated, or can they like jump out while I am trying to combo them? Those are the combo-based characters that you really have to try to either invest into, or you may require a team up, or you may require a lot of skill and knowledge in the game because certain characters may not have the same amount of HP. Like you can't just walk up and just feel like you can eliminate a tank. Now you can walk up and eliminate some of the support in the game, but well, that's not always going to happen because they have abilities. There's going to be things that will peel for them, so you have to watch out. Otherwise, these characters don't get value. So those are the three characters, which are Black Panther, Spider-Man, Magic, kind of in the same category over there. Next up, though, moving into Penny Parker, the reason why I'm putting the character in D tier, it is not your traditional Vanguard or tank, as you would call it in these sort of hero-based games. So the reason why I'm putting Penny over there is because they don't perform like a normal tank where you're sitting in the front line and you're just like, I'm blocking with some sort of shield. You basically have this little spider drone thing that you shoot out and it kind of spawns in these little mines. And then if they eliminate it because it holds still, well, then you stop beating the mines, meaning that it's going to be very difficult to get your limbs. How the character's utilized really is to kind of deal with some certain flankers, and her ability just to web shot something is incredibly powerful, but you need that knowledge to go ahead and actually be active with the character, knowing kind of how you need to actually play. The other character is in this category for another reason. Like, those four characters, you can play them if you're really good, but certain characters, like specifically Jeff, is just objectively not the most powerful, especially if you're like in any rank below the bottom rank. The main problem with Jeff, now there's a cool ultimate that you can do where you can suck everyone up like Kirby, and then you can jump off the map and it eliminates all of them. You combo with Doctor Strange or something like that, where you get to like warp off the map. There are cool things that you can do, but realistically, the way that the character is played is like you have like a heal beam, and then you put these little bubbles down that people can walk up and heal. You know what's going to happen at the higher ranks? People are just going to be like, oh, I got the character low. There's a bubble right there. Which direction do you think the player is going to move? It's like such bait for people to just go and try to get healed, and then they get eliminated because they go for the heals. I think Jeff really needs some buffs, honestly. You guys can check out the gameplay that I dropped. Jeff, as cool as the character is, there's not really good reasons right now to play it, especially if you're playing ranked. If it's your first time here, welcome indeed. My name is Slaydra. I'm an official Marvel Rivals content creator, and I do like to play in the competitive area of the game. We actually hit top 500, specifically 198, and I do play flex, meaning that I do play the support role, Vanguard or the tank, and then also a damage dealer. And also in Overwatch 1 and 2, we've hit Grandmasters in every single role, and I think that is important to establish just because some content creators, they kind of only focus in on one sort of area and they kind of have a niche, but we do play all of the roles in the game. Again, It depends on how high you go up in the rank, but if you're in like quick play, hey, no, again, have fun with these characters if you're more a casual player. Don't let it discourage you, but most of the time when people are looking for tier lists, they're interested in it for like the competitive scene of the game. Anyways, next up, let's go into the C tier. So I'm going to consider these like niche, or they're going to be good for comboing, meaning that like they have these like team ups. So Hulk is actually pretty good with certain characters like Magic, where you can actually shield certain characters, or if you're playing Hulk and you are going to, let's say, Scarlet. There's a lot of other characters that you can like kind of use the shield and combo with. Magneto's great with Scarlet as well, where you can like let her actually get her ultimate off, because there's always times where people upload Scarlet Witch. Oh, I got 6 limbs because I blew up the entire screen. At higher ranks, Scarlet will pop her ult. She's getting absolutely stunned out of it. So you can combo it with certain other characters to kind of help things go on. But Hulk is really good for mainly dive, but there's just way better options. When you see the S tier, there's just better options for Hulk. He kind of just doesn't do enough DPS. He can kind of like peel for your team, and he can also like kind of stun them with like one of those like green radiation thing. And there are some combos up with Hulk, specifically with Iron Man, that make the character much better, but for the most part, it's a niche or combo. Captain America, God tier, when you have Thor's ability. Thor plus Captain America is amazing, but the thing with Captain America is he's very fragile. If you are expected to either solo tank or kind of sit there as a bruiser, he doesn't have the ability to kind of hold out on his own for a super, super long time, which is kind of a different playstyle. If you're thinking like Vanguard, you're like, oh, I'm just going to go in and deflect everything. He can deflect some ultimates with his shield, but he's very limited, and you can get outplayed by him because of his range for sure compared to some of the other rosters. And yeah, you can kind of run, but the difference between running and flying in the air with like Venom, night and day difference. Storm is more niche in the sense where if everything is kind of grouped up in some sort of small like choke area, you can get actually a pretty good amount of damage, and you're just basically cleaving everything. It's kind of a niche playstyle. Definitely check out my Storm video and guide if you're interested in learning her, because surprisingly, you would think that you would want to fly in the air, but Storm gets way more value if she's on the floor, cleaving everything to kind of pierce with all her like wind attacks. Really interesting that that's the way she's played, but yeah, that is the way she's played. Next up, we're going into Starlord. Starlord is one of the greatest pub stompers. When I first played the game, I'm like, this is the best character in the game. Very, very good. When you get into the higher ranks, it ain't happening, man. So like, again, if you're really good, you can get those kills. If you're a fan of like the Tracer kind of assassin playstyle, sure, go for it. But the supports in this game aren't as fragile. Like in this game, they have a lot more that they can actually utilize to kind of keep themselves alive. But if you've got insane aim and you want to try to one-clip people, hey, by all means, it could be like way higher. Again, the point of this video is for like your average player kind of just hopping into the game. Maybe like maybe anywhere from like silver to maybe platinum is kind of where I want to say this video is mainly meant for. But there's going to be people that have certain playstyles that will favor one character over another. Now, moving into the B tier, these are characters where most people will be like, okay, you're playing the character, cool, I'm not going to complain, or like, you know, ask you to swap instantly. Unless it's Iron Man, he's like going 0 and 10, because again, Spider-Man and Iron Man are two characters that like kids love, and you know, it's a superhero game. Expect kids to play these and go 0 and 10. And I'm just warning you guys, especially Spider-Man, man. With Iron Man, he has incredible DPS. Since they have changed some of like the damage drop-offs, Iron Man has gotten a little bit more value, but against good players, you ain't playing Iron Man. I'm just telling you right now. Punisher is like so incredibly good at dealing with Iron Man as well as Hela. Yeah, it's a really rough thing when you're playing Iron Man against basically things that can counter him, because he's incredibly slow in the air, which is fair, because if he was super fast, he'd be the most broken character in the game. Incredible DPS, incredible ultimate. I like the character overall. He's really fun. Then moving on to Mantis. Mantis is pretty decent for being able to maybe secure a kill. She has like a sleep ability, but for the most part, she's 100% outclassed by Luna. Luna's ultimate can go damage, or you can go and have like that heal effect, but kind of a cool combo if you run both of them. But Rocket Raccoon is just like the S tier character, and he's been like super good for a very long time. Anyways, next up, Scarlet Witch. Really good to combo with Magneto. Magneto is actually relatively meta, especially as like an off tank. I love having Magneto, and it's basically because you can kind of protect things at very specific times. When a character is going for an ultimate, like Scarlet Witch plus Magneto, excellent combo. You shield them, kind of like a Zarya bubble. It's great. And then moving into Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier, I played for a brief moment, because there's like a certain like patch where we can play him. There's not that many people that actually got access to Winter Soldier and Captain America when those came out, but I've played them for a while. I thought this character was the best character in the game, and he is good, but you really need a little bit more team coordination. The point of this video is mainly for your average player and pretty much going in solo, because that's the experience that most people are going to have. But if you do have some teamwork, I mean, you can get some really cool combos with him because he grabs someone. So I like it for that. Loki over here, I think Loki is pretty dang good, but when you get in the higher ranks, obviously the trickster aspect of him having these clones, people will notice the movement. You can try to juke out your opponent by playing like an AI, because he summons these clones that also attack back. So there is a pretty good amount of play with him. Like, he has the most potential for crazy outplays and being able to take ultimates. But if you're looking for specifically like a strategist or support that can really hold your team down together, you ain't playing Loki. I feel like Raccoon and Luna are just in so much more favor in the current game state. Next up, Adam. If you're able to kind of get some DPS earlier on, he's kind of more like offensive, and he has like this burst heal. But once you run out of it, man, if you're not securing those kills fast, like the longer the fight goes on, I feel like the character, it's kind of rough to play because you'll just lose out on sustain compared to like if you're facing off against like Venom, Luna, like the more meta-ish characters, you really need to get those limbs fast before, otherwise he will kind of fall off. And then next up, moving in to Doctor Strange. This was one of like the tanks that I really liked in the beginning, but when you look at some of the newer characters like Venom and Thor specifically, they just output way more DPS. Doctor Strange is still good. I was debating on putting him on A tier, but once you see the A tier, you'll see why. But he's really good. I mean, he can fly up in the air, he can block like a hella ult, he can block a lot of different things, and the teleporter is actually really cool. I actually really like this character a lot, but again, when you look at the meta in the higher tiers again, dude, Venom and Thor, they're just so much better. Thor didn't really get to see play because in that version we didn't have competitive available, but when pushing for top 5, Venom is just, again, so good. That's why I'm having some Venom gameplay. Next up, though, let's go into the A tier. So as far as the A tier goes, I really can suggest, especially for beginner players, oh man, Groot is excellent. Having a really great ultimate, having really good abilities to maybe wall off other people, and the sustain that he has is really great because sometimes the healers, you know, that they just don't really heal the tank. Like, it's like, you think that it's like, yeah, you heal the tank. He has incredible sustain out of all of the tanks. He's kind of in his area where I wouldn't consider him really a bruiser. He doesn't really do bad damage at all. Like, but compared to Thor, he's outclassed. But I really like him for being able to be a really good team player. I like this character a lot. If I have to solo tank, I really like specifically Venom and Groot. But yeah, Groot, very solid. Now going to Neymar. Neymar used to be like one of the worst characters in the game. He has gotten so much better. He just gets more damage, basically. I like this character a lot, and I think that this character has high potential for S tier as well. I think this is a really, really good character, but the ultimate just falls short of the other things that I want to talk about. You do kind of build it up quite fast, though. But moving on to the other character on the A tier, which is Magneto. Again, really good for Scarlet, but the reason why I'm putting Magneto here, it does require a little bit of coordination. Like, I didn't really want to make this video all about team ups, which is basically where you have like the characters that you would unlock more abilities, because with Magneto and Scarlet, he gets the sword. Dude, that sword is so incredibly powerful. Now, if you don't have it, it's still an okay-ish pick, but you really do want it. But what I really like him for is like when there's certain things that go down, like you're like, okay, you can see this person getting dove. Again, in the earlier stages of the game, when you see a Spider-Man or a Black Panther that's diving and trying to commit, and you're just like, no, you're not eliminating this, it's really, really strong, and I think he's overall pretty good, especially with the ultimate, basically countering the ultimate. And in the very beginning, because this is like a brand new game, a lot of people are just going to be like, oh, I'm going to pop my ult. Magneto hits him up with his ult, and is like, I countered your ult, I'm getting all this damage, and I'm just going to one-shot, you know, maybe 2 or 3 players, depending on, you know, the size and if the players commit to it. He's kind of a character where in the earlier stages you can absolutely pub stomp with this character. I like the character a lot, but again, in the S tier you'll see why. So next up, we're moving to the S tier, which is basically similar to a lot of the other tier lists that we have made in the past, with the addition of course, adding Venom and Thor as their newer characters. So starting right off, Venom is like the best tank in the game. If I have to solo tank, this is the only character I like. It's got okay-ish ultimate. Venom with Luna will one-shot, which is crazy, because Luna can give you a damage boost, and Venom does, at least keep in mind, all of the things I'm talking about are as of right now. When things update, I'll update you guys with a future video. But yeah, you can just one-shot things. It's incredibly awesome. I love that combo. But yeah, Venom's really good swinging in, distracting the enemies. Basically, the lower HP that you have when you pop your shield, you're going to get even more. So how he's kind of played, you go in kind of like Wrecking Ball in Overwatch. You make people use all their abilities, and then you just survive and get out, and then you go back to your team, you get healed, and they don't have any of their abilities. You do incredible amounts of damage if you are landing headshots with the character as well, which is really, really big. You can see I'm trying to target that Hela, as that's very important. They're using all of their abilities on me, and even if they heal up, it's fine. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get healed over there, which kind of sucks, but that can be a way to get incredible value off of the character. You do so much distraction and use a bunch of their cooldowns, you get back to your team. Again, it's very similar to Ball in Overwatch in terms of like the idea and mindset. Like if they're focusing Venom, you usually can get the dub. But next up, moving on to Luna Snow, 100% best support. If I have to play support, if I have to solo support, I would play Rocket Raccoon in ranked. But most time in the higher ranks of the game, you don't get forced to solo tank or solo heal. It's a thing where at the lower ranks, dude, I'm not gonna lie, it sucks sometimes when you have to solo tank or solo heal because everyone wants to lock in and play all the DPS. But you do need to have a tank, you do need to have a support if you want to win most of the time. Now, again, there's going to be times where that's not going to happen, so you're forced to do it. But Luna Snow is excellent for her ultimate, basically just kind of keeping everything up, but it also has kill potential with her ability to just freeze things. It's just so dang good, and she does good damage too. Like, the number stats are really good with this character. Next up, Punisher, probably the highest recommendation that I can give you guys if you guys want to play a character and you are brand new and you want to do DPS. Play Punisher. Don't ever pull out the shotgun and just beam people. The thing does incredible DPS. He has the turret too. This is a really, really good character in the game at every single rank, at every single position. There's never a time where like Punisher is bad, because if they have flyers, well, Punisher just punishes them. If they have like multiple tank lineups, well, Punisher is good for that too. Like, he's the all-rounder in this game for DPS, and he's like one of the only characters, I would say, with the exception of things that just insta character, like, you know, an Iron Man, if you get hit by that, is GG's. But he can actually burst through a lot of the healing that's done in the game, which I can't say that every character can realistically do with just their left click. And again, he's good at every single range, and he has a little bit more HP. Like, just that extra HP, a lot of these numbers just won't let you like KO the Punisher. The Punisher just like has that extra amount of oomph that makes him a very good solid beginner character to actually play. Highest recommendation for support to play Luna if you're brand new, and then highest recommendation for DPS and damage to play the Punisher. For tank, it's kind of up in the air, I'll be honest. But next up, Thor is a character that is the best bruiser in the entire game. Like, if you're interested in a character that can deal damage and basically almost never die as long as your characters are like relatively good, I think like the god combo honestly is to have Venom Thor. Venom go turbo feed, come back, survive, and then you bust out Thor, and when they have no cooldowns, Thor just does crazy amounts of damage. I hope they don't nerf Thor at all, and I don't know if he will get nerfed because the way he's designed is that you just stay in fights forever, and again, he does pretty good damage, then he pops his ult. I think he's really good, but he's not really great at being a solo tank because you need something to kind of complement him. Maybe if you want to try running like the Hulk or a Captain America, you can kind of combo with him, but he's just so crazy for the damage. I like this character a lot. Like, he just builds up shields. He doesn't have like crazy mobility like Doomfist or anything, but I feel like it's that playstyle of just like staying in the fight, just keep on getting shields, just keep on going. The character is just nuts, man. Probably one of my favorite characters in the game. If I happen to have another tank, I like this character a lot. But Venom is still one of my favorites just because high mobility and pretty good damage. Rocket Raccoon is so good. He's been on the S tier for every single tier list. If you look at a tier list and then I'll put Rocket Raccoon at the top, man, dude, he's got incredible heals. He's got pretty solid DPS. He's got a great ultimate. Has the ability to give your team like armor if they don't like contest that little like thing. And then on top of that, being able to bring like teammates basically instantly back is pretty big. Now, he's not as good as the best character in the entire game, which has been nerfed, but the character is incredibly good. It's going to be even better because, well, the combo. So Hela has her own tier. Hela was by far the best character in the game forever, okay? This character has been nerfed, but the character still does incredible DPS. If you want to solo carry your team, I don't think that there is a character that's even close to Hela. Basically, you're just spamming things that can do damage. If you double tap headshot on them, it's just GG's. It's like for a lot of characters. It is so crazy how good Hela has been. And the reason why she's also really good, she's got a really solid ult too. And then on top of that, she has the ability to bring back certain heroes. With her team up ability, she can just, if she gets in a limb or a KO, you can actually bring back someone. Like, that is like one of the craziest effects. I believe it's Thor, Loki at the moment, but some of these could change in the future. But like, just being able to bring back a tank, dude, like, it's not even like her ultimate that does it. Her ultimate flies up in the air and she's just like bombarding, and if someone's playing Doctor Strange, they can block it. But Hela is incredibly good for her ultimate and her just ability to sustain by just kind of spamming stuff, and she's got an ability to kind of move. Like, she just has mobility, she has damage, she has pretty much everything that you would want in a DPS character, and again, great ultimate, and it's just that passive of being able to bring back potentially like 2 characters. Again, depends on your like line up on your combos, but I think Hela still deserves her own tier. If you look at any tier list, if Hela is not S or in their own tier, like honestly, I can put her in S tier, but like I genuinely feel like that character is just a little bit above everything, because bringing back a tank off of just, again, not an ability, you just get it. So if you maybe have like a combo where you have this idea of you go in with like, again, Venom, and then you go in with Thor to kind of just put so much pressure on, and then Thor rips because Venom arguably has like kind of a better way to kind of survive, unless Thor is, of course, landing every single ability. Then Hela can bring back Thor, and then you pretty much win. But the target, I guess, would have to be low, and you'd have to kind of call it out, and it's kind of a team-up thing. And I don't want this thing to be so much on the team thing, but Hela is by far the best character in the game, at least in my personal opinion. Obviously, any tier list is going to be subjective, but what's going to be cool is we're going to have an objective ability to see all of the best characters in the game, because we're going to be able to see win rate and all the abilities and all of like the stats numbers, and they're going to be transparent with us. So I'm really looking forward to Marvel Rivals. Obviously, this video is being dropped before the game actually launches, and there are going to be extra heroes, but I wanted to have this guide kind of for players that were interested in maybe trying out the game for the first time, and they kind of want to know, you know, Slayer, what's a good character to play? Which are the ones where I'm going to have to learn? Again, if you're a huge fan of Spider-Man, you know, Black Panther, Magic, don't let me discourage you from playing them. It's just that they're going to require a little bit more time. However, I want to say with Jeff, objectively, the character is just simply not good. That's like the one exception where I feel like this character definitely needs some sort of a buff to kind of deal with it. And plus, like the way Jeff's hitbox is, his face is real big. He's kind of easy to hit. Even though you think he's like a little tiny shark, it's pretty easy to hit that little guy. But it's specifically that the way the playstyle is, it's just like you put the bubbles up, and then again, you can heal from them, and you can put them behind cover, but again, if your opponent sees that, they're going to be like, oh, he's low, he's going to go try to get a heal bubble. They know exactly your movement. So that depends on your rank, but anything past like the middle-ish area, let's say like silver, gold, they're going to know how that works eventually. But the character, definitely, I would say, is probably, if I had to put like the worst character in the game, I had to pick one, 100% is Jeff. Anyways, that's going to wrap up the video. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you do want to be up to date on Marvel Rivals, as I will update you guys with another tier list, but I want to have, again, a lot of videos ready for you guys when the game actually launches, because this is going to be one of my like new main games for sure, especially since they announced that there's not going to be any pay to win in the game. You're going to have all the characters at launch, which is incredible. I thought we were going to have to buy the characters, but the game's free to play, and it's launching December 6th, and we're going to be grinding, and we're going to be going and pushing in the rank section, as long as it's out at the start of it. We're going to do another unranked G, well, they don't call it GM, they call it Type 500, but whatever the rank is going to be called in this game. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and check the pin. I'll link some of the gameplays from some of the things if you guys want to check them out. But take care, have a good one, and I'm out. Peace.